All right, class, in this lesson we're going to take a look at the evolution of number systems in section 5.1 of our textbook. And we first have to discuss the difference between a number and a numeral. A number is the concept behind a numeral. What we think of usually are numerals. When we think of 1, 2, and 3, we are saying they're numbers, but they're actually numerals. They represent a quantity. The quantity is the number. And so here we've got 1, 2, and 3. If we wrote them this way, this shows more conceptually we're looking at one thing, two things, three things, and our numbers that we think of are Hindu-Arabic numerals, and they are what tell us what the quantity is that we're actually looking for. So the actual number is the quantity, and the way we represent it is the numeral. So we need to look at some different cultures and what they've done over the years for counting and using numerals, what different types of numerals there are. So we're going to start taking a look at the Egyptian numeration system, and here the Egyptians had quite the drawing. My favorite, I think, is astonished person. They see 1,000 number, $1 million, and they're astonished and pretty excited, probably because they have 1 million. But we've got Egyptian numeration system, and they basically break up into parts, and they draw multiple numbers of, or multiple shapes for whatever number they're describing. Here I would take a picture of this so that you can, or with your phone, so that you can reference back to it quickly. I doubt that we're going to be drawing these down. I know I won't be drawing them because they are difficult to draw. We're going to draw 325, or write it in Egyptian symbols. And so we want to take a look at the way that they do their math. Is to do 300, they would just take 3 of these scrolls to represent the quantity 300. And then next to it, they're going to put 2 of these heel bones to represent the quantity 20. And 5 strokes to represent the quantity of 5. So that's what it's going to look like over here. You can see we've got our 300s, our 2 10s, and our 5 1s. So let's go ahead and take a look at doing some conversions for ourselves. We have 3 of these lotus flowers, and what that represents is 3 thousands. So we go ahead and write 3,000 here. And then what we're doing is we're adding to it another 4 of these scrolls, and the scrolls represent the hundreds places, so we've got 4 hundreds. And then we've got 2 heel bones, so we write plus 2 tens, which is 20. And we've got 5 of our strokes, which is just the number 5 for us. And so this is kind of the way they conceptualized their math as they broke it out into individual parts. The way that we read numbers is kind of the same way, and this is what we call expanded form for us, for our numbers, and so we would just go ahead and condense this to be 3,425. And so we can also convert this into our Egyptian notation and actually draw the symbols, but what we want to recognize is that we've got 1,200,000. So basically what you're doing is you've got 1 of these figures, 2 of these figures, 3 of these figures, none of the next, none of the next, and then we've got 4 of our heel bones and 1 stroke. So that's kind of how the way you want to read through there and work that, and I'm not going to be drawing these, but here's what it looks like. You've got 1 million with one of your astonished people, and then, as I said, you have 2 of these shapes for 200,000, and then each one of these shapes, like I said, so there's 3 of these, as I was drawing out earlier. And so the overall picture would be this, where you just count each individual one, where you've got the 1, 2, 3, and then there wasn't any of the other 2, but you have 4 of your heel bones and then 1 stroke at the end. That's what that shape looks, or what that number looks like in Egyptian numerals. And so we've got to learn how to do addition and subtraction. So what our assignments are looking at, and here we you can actually convert these and just actually rewrite them as their actual numbers and then add, and then convert back if you'd like. But here's how the Egyptians would have done it. They would have taken their 3 shapes here and added them with the 2. And so they kind of stack their numbers like we do. And you would just notice you have 5 of those. And here you'd want to count up how many of these heel bones you have. And in all, you've got all these red ones here, and then an extra quantity. The reason why these ones are red, because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, and 10 tens is 100. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this as 1 more of these scrolls, at the end, in a second when I click, and then here we've got 5 of our ones. But basically, this is what you're doing. You're just adding the amount of shapes that you have, and then getting an overall final answer here, where we replace these 10 heel bones with this one scroll, is what it's called down there. All right. So again, you can actually take and convert this into our our Arabic numbers, and then adding and then convert back if you like. But it's not that bad, I believe, to just count up how many of each of the symbols you have, and then at the end do an extra little conversion. If you've got an extra group, just like we would if we had 10 tens, we would give ourselves another 100 place. And so here we can look at subtraction with the Egyptian numerals, and here we're going to be taking shapes away, and so what we want to do is just stack them. The problem is, just like we do our subtraction, if I had a number on top like 35 and on bottom I had just a 7, I'd have to borrow from the 3, make this a 2, and make this a 15. They did exactly the same thing. Okay, so this was 100, and then over here we had 3 of our 10, so this is 30. So basically this is 230, and then 4, and then underneath there have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, so 62. We would borrow in the same sense they would borrow and make this 13. So I'm going to show how that works. So like I said, you could actually do the math this way with our numerals, or you can do it with the pictures. But here's how they would have done it with their pictures: is they would have taken and expanded this with their with their hundreds to turn into 10 more tens. That's all these red ones right here. So they could actually do the subtraction here from the heel bones. So there's 6 heel bones down here, and so basically they need to cut out the extra heel bones, and so they're basically just crossing these off and then counting up how many heel bones we have at the end. Here you can see we have 1 of the scrolls coming down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heel bones are down there, and then these 2 cross out with those 2, and we have 2 strokes left, 2 ones. And then in the end, so you have 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Just like we would have done our subtraction. Very similar.